As we get a little closer defensively, we hadn't had enough depth to compete in this league with all the need around 30 players that can go day in and day out and play in this league. We've been about half that, but we've pretty much doubled our talent on that side of the ball. We've taken some junior college players. Most of the guys that played last year are back with us, and I think they're going to help. We have Art Kaufman, our new defensive coordinator, along with John Lovett, defensive back coach, and Fred Tater, one of our defensive line coach, with Robert Prunty. They'll be running our defense. Art's a guy that worked for me for 4 or 5 years at Ole Miss back in the late 90s. He's very experienced, understands how to run defenses and how to recruit for a defense. So we're excited about his being at the helm of our defense because that's where we're lacking. Last year we tried to hide our defense a little bit with a running game. We wanted to run the ball a little bit more. Along with Seth Dagey, first-year quarterback, we were off and running. We were playing well into mid-season. Had a big win in Norman. We lose a running back, and that threw the ball in Seth's court, throwing the ball pretty much every down, and then we were on the field a lot more defensively. So things kind of went out of control for us after that. But we have some young defensive guys that we're excited about, some young offensive guys. I think that, well, I know we'll be much better. We've got to continue to be more consistent than what we have in the past. Questions?
Okay, we'll take questions for the coach. Again, we'll start right up here in the front middle. Just a second till we get a microphone to you.
Joe Yeager, RaiderPower.com. Coach, could you talk about Art Kaufman and how much of an impact you can realistically expect him to make with your defense in his first season? You know, what
we're probably going to have in this league since the emergence of West Virginia, and then you've got TCU. You've got Texas that's changed their offense. There's going to be a dramatic change each week in terms of what type of offense that you play. And so you've got to have somebody that understands how to adapt to different offenses, how to make changes in terms of your personnel on defense. And that only comes from experience. And Art's been there. We went through a lot of same scenarios while we were at Ole Miss together. He did the same thing in the ACC the last few years of seeing different teams in that league each week. And so I think that's the big factor of having an experienced coordinator being able to make those changes week in and week out, personnel, move people around, and how to do those things in terms of giving yourself a chance for success. You're still going to have to score a lot of points in the league. I mean, we scored close to 40 points a game last year and won 5 games. West Virginia coming in and TCU coming in with a lot of great offensive talent. Defensive coordinators are going to earn their money. They're going to earn everything they get every week with the changes that they have to make.
Question on the front right.
David Owen, ESPN.com. Where is Eric at in his status?
Who's that?
Eric Stevens.
Eric Stevens is much better. I'd say he's probably 80% right now. Eric's our running back last year that was off and having a great season. We were hoping to have a 1,000-yard season out of him, and he was looking very good. And we get in the Texas A&M game, and it was a devastating. It wasn't just a knee injury; it was a leg injury, total replacement. It was one of those 9 months of hard rehab after his surgery. They actually waited a month before they operated on his knee because it was so bad, just to let the swelling go down, just to let everything kind of connect back together that would connect back together, which wasn't much, and then go in and work on it. Our doctors did a great job, and he's been in the training room relentlessly for the last 7 or 8 months. He started running about 5 or 6 weeks ago in terms of making cuts, changing directions. He has to wear a knee brace as we speak. The thing that we'll do with him is they've told us he will practice at the beginning of 2-a-days. We won't obviously have any contact with him, but he'll go full speed in routes and running the ball. We'll keep players off of him, but sooner or later he's going to have contact. We have 3 non-conference games early. We hope to get him in some, or if not all of those games, to get his confidence back, because think about that, as a lot of other positions, you have that injury. You're not going to have contact on every snap, but if a running back and you're running the football, you're going to get hit high, low, from the side, from the front, from the back. and you've got to build that confidence back that knee's there, whether it's, and that knee's probably stronger than the other one right now, but that player has to learn and build that confidence back. So hopefully he'll be back. And DeAndre Washington, we lost our backup running back, also the same type of injury, not quite as bad, and both of them are recovering pretty good at the time.
Question about halfway back on the middle.
Yeah, Kirk Bowles from the Austin American-Statesman. Tommy, coming from the SEC as far as defensive philosophy, do you feel like the first 2 years you got too consumed by going against spread offenses so regularly that you got away from being as physical as you want?
Consumed, but not having enough depth over there to play in this league. I mean, we had to move linebackers to defensive line the first year, and then those defensive linemen graduated, and we're looking around playing true freshmen and probably didn't take enough junior college guys. But it's just, you know, I don't want to do it that way. We want to take a few junior college players and build it with high school kids. Last year, I redshirted a defensive lineman that we just said, hey, we're going to do it. We're going to bite the bullet. He's going to be a great player. His name is Brandon Jackson. We left a red shirt on him, didn't play him, and it's going to help us in the long run. And so the thing that we had to do and knew we had to do when we got here is build our depth up, build our talent level up, get 3 deep at almost every position, because you win with depth in college football. You don't have to have great players, but you better have good players that when somebody gets hurt, the next guy that goes in can replace him, and your drop-off is not mid-season. We were moving wide receivers to corner, not as backups, but as starters. You can't do that. I mean, you can't do that in college football. We did not have the numbers, and so now we're getting to the point where we don't have to do that. We've got more depth, we've got more talent, we've doubled our talent, so to speak, in the last couple of years on defense. We're going to be fine offensively. We just need to have a little bit of luck in keeping guys healthy. But you can't win big games. The big game that we won last year against Oklahoma is we played over our heads. We were able to knock some plays down. We played well on third down. A lot of young guys, a lot of guys that learned a lot from that game. And we weren't able to duplicate that defensive effort the rest of the year, the next 5 games. And so for us to go to another level, it's not going to be on offense. It's going to be on defense. And so that's been a huge part of our recruiting and our efforts in my first 2 years being here, getting our defense to that level.
We got a question on the side, and then we'll move to the middle.
Don Williams from the Lubbock Avalanche Journal. Coach, can you tell us the status now for preseason practice for Jason Morrow and Kenny Williams, and then same thing with Darren Moore?
Yeah, in the next couple of weeks, the way you need to do it is, these are 3 guys that had some off-field problems. And I let it go through the system, pretty much. We find exactly what they did and what they find out about them, and then we'll go from there. Jace and Kenny's has been a little bit longer. I think that's about wrapped up. Darren Moore, we'll have to wait and see, probably a week or so more in that situation. But right now they're kind of in limbo. But no matter whether they're starters or backups or whatever, and then you go from there, and that's what we'll do.
Question in the middle.
Joe Yeager again. Coach, could you talk about the physical size of your defensive front 7? And it's probably not the biggest front 7 in college football right now. Is there any concern with that possibly being an issue at all?
Yeah, we are not that big, and we've gotten bigger. That happens in the weight room. Some guys need to lose weight when you get them. Some guys need to gain weight. Some guys need to gain strength. The area that we were lacking a lot at last year was people ran the football right at us, and we were a non-factor with our front 4. This year, our 2 starting defensive tackles will be around 290. We'll have one backup that'll be about 310, which is much better than has been in the past. We're moving a defense who played last year about 260. Now he's up to close to 280, 285. Again, that's one area in this conference that you play so many plays. They're big. They get winded, and you have to have a lot of depth. And we're striving to get 3 deep at each position on the defensive line. The last couple of years, we hadn't been close to that. So we're getting closer. We're getting closer to the talent level from all 3 starters, the mid guys, the second-team guys, and the third-team guys. We've got a couple of freshmen, or one freshman that we're bringing in, Anthony Smith. He came in a couple of weeks ago, second summer session, about 325. He needs to lose a few pounds, but he's more what you need to find. Defensive linemen are the hardest to find in the country. The teams that win usually bring defensive players in that are either linebackers or defensive ends and make defensive tackles out of them. Jay Ratliff, for me, who's a starter here in Dallas for Cowboys, so you've got to try to project what they're going to be when you sign them, and then put weight on them and that are good athletes and make defensive linemen. Very few players come out of high school, very few come out of high school that are defensive linemen that stay defensive linemen in college. Most of the time, those guys move to the offensive line because they're a little bit more athletic. Those that have defensive linemen have a much better chance of having success and consistency than the ones that don't. And we're striving to get there. We're not there yet.
Question on the outside right.
Scott Fitzgerald, 1340 The Fan, Lubbock, Texas. Coach, you talked about the increased depth, and you've lost a couple of games last year. You lost on special teams, I thought, with A&M, a blocked field goal and a couple of big punt returns at K-State, or kick returns. But how does that affect special teams with your increased depth?
Yeah, you have to bite the bullet, and you have to get your starters out because it gets so many reps. You know, as I said last year, Texas A&M game, we ran 119 plays on offense in one game. Now that's 2 games in any other conference, most every other conference. Normally you have about 70 snaps, 65 snaps. And so last year we had to play some guys probably that weren't ready to play on special teams, but you just can't leave your same guys out there to play in and play out. This year, with more depth, we'll be better. We'll have better kickoff coverage teams. We gave up a couple of kickoffs for a touchdown last year that really set us back. As you said, we had 2 field goals blocked with backup offensive linemen in the game that were true freshmen that needed to be over there watching instead of playing. But we're growing up. We're getting a little bit more depth. We're getting to a position now where we're a little bit more selective on who plays, and normally, you know, it won't be a first-year guy. It's going to be a guy that's been out there and done that and learned the.
Any further questions for Coach? We got a question up on the front.
Coach, what's Alex Torres' status for practice with his comeback from his knee?
Yeah, Alex Torres was off to a great season last year, and we were down to really, he was our most productive wide receiver, had 2 big catches and touchdowns versus Oklahoma, and then had a couple more good games, and then at the Missouri game on that turf that they had up there, which was not conducive really to being safe. We lost him and 2 other guys to knee injuries, but Alex is he's recuperated. He's still got a little bit of limp in his run. I noticed the other day he has a brace on. Be ready to go. Whether he's going to be 100%, probably not at the beginning. But, you know, he's been cutting and running probably a little bit longer than the other guys with knee injuries. We had, I think, 8 knee surgeries last year, and he's probably in the middle of the pack of being able to be closer to 100% than some of the other guys are.
Outside left.
Coach, Matt Hingle from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Just for you personally, how hard was last season for you in light of the way the year went? Are you feeling any more pressure to win games now?
No, you know, every year you put pressure on yourself. You know, we're starting now to get more depth, play with our recruits. Seemed like I just got here yesterday, but it's you know, this is a fun sport. You know, sometimes you make it tougher than what it is. A lot of times, some of the other teams have coaches, or we're making progress in recruiting, or we're getting our guys. We've recruited a lot better in the last 2 years than I dreamed we'd ever would. When I got there, I had people tell me how you can't recruit. It's, you know, it's hard. It's too far away from everybody. You know, that's reading your short now when you go in on defense. You can't get linemen, but we've overcome that. I think we've bucked all odds in terms of recruiting. Your coaches have to be great salesmen. The guys that we've gotten to campus, we've had a chance to recruit against. We've recruited against most of the top teams supposedly in the nation from coast to coast. We've got teams on the guys on the team from Los Angeles all the way to Pittsburgh to Florida. Most of our team we want to take from this state, from the Metroplex, from the Houston area, from West Texas. But for us to have success, or anybody have conference and national success, you've got to go nationwide now. And So it takes a while, you know, just being, so hopefully we can get this thing going a little bit better each year. You know, we're not there yet. Well, I'll be the first to tell you, but we're much closer than we were 3 years ago.
Got a question in the middle?
Yeah, Tommy, what are your expectations for Michael Brewer this year and how you want to use
Yeah,
him?
Mike Brewer is a young man that's dedicated to playing quarterback. He's had the ability now to sit back and play behind Seth Dagey 1 year as a redshirt. We weren't going to put him in the game last year. This year he'll be the true backup, fighting for playing time. Mike's very athletic. He's different than Seth Dagey. He's got a good arm. Probably not as strong as Seth, but he can run. He loves to run the ball. He's had a lot of success winning, I don't know, 2 or 3 state championships at Lake Travis. His dad and his grandfather played college football, and he loves it. I mean, he's one of those type of guys that you can tell when this will be a big year for him. He probably won't get a lot of playing time in terms of starts, but we're going to try to build a package for him so he can start learning for next year. Get him in as many games as we can. Put him in situations where, you know, if we need a guy that's athletic to run play action, run the ball, he might be a guy that we do that with. But he's got a great future in front of him. He's got 4 years left, and he seems like to me he's like he's 21, 22 years old because he came from a great program at Lake Travis that had success. You can't teach that. I mean, you've got to acquire that from a successful team, and he has been very successful in football since he's been playing.
Okay, this will be final question for Coach on the right side.
Coach, talk about your depth at the skill positions, running back and wide receiver.
Yeah, running back, of course, we got Eric back, we got DeAndre Washington back, both those coming off knee injury. We went out and we signed a kid by the name of Sadell Foster from him. He had a great spring practice. He's a short, thick kid that runs hard inside and outside, and he's got great hands, which you need to be as a running back for us at Texas Tech, because as much as we throw it. Kenny Williams, that we took the red shirt off last year, which we hated to do that, but at the end of the year we were down to him, and he played pretty well for a young 18-year-old that made some good runs, but he's put on about 10 pounds, much stronger. He's a different type of runner. So we've got some good inside-outside runners, but he's more of an inside guy that's got a little bit more bulk to him. And then a receiver, I think one of the better players that might be in the country for the next few years is going to be Jay Samaro. He's 6'6", 260-pound tight end that's got great hands for us. Just a phenomenal athlete that played last year, true freshman. He's from San Antonio, and everybody wanted him. And he's one of those type of guys that's going to make us for the run and also run after he catches the ball. And then, of course, Bradley Marquez, I think that he could be a guy that really turns it on this year. He made some plays for us last year. He's got a lot of speed and quickness playing inside receiver. Right now he's playing for the New York Mets in baseball last 2 months. I don't know how well he's doing. I'm just hoping he shows back up after those easy times. But he's ready to come back and go to work. He'll start with us in the 1st of August again. I think he's a guy that can help make us special too. We got a lot of skill guys that we've recruited the last few years. We've added 10 guys that can play major college football at skill positions on the outside and inside receiver position. So Seth is going to have a little bit easier time this year. He's going to have a tougher time picking out receivers because he's going to have more of them. But I think it's going to be a good problem.
Comments? Have a great